Welcome back to the Fertility Freak Podcast, where we help couples who are struggling to get pregnant to unblock their fertility so they can start the family of their dreams. My name is Michelle Tillman, your fertility expert and educator. And today's episode, I'm super excited to talk to Crystal. She has an amazing testimony of how God took her from childless to having an amazing, beautiful daughter, and I want you guys to listen in. I'm just going to let her flow so she can tell you all about what God has done in her life and how I was able to help her through the process of being a small part of her process and making sure that this could absolutely be your story. So Crystal, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time out. Can you start off just, tell them a little bit about yourself, how old you are, what you were dealing with, and, tell them your story.
Yes. Well, I'm Crystal. Like Michelle said, thank you so much for having me as well. It's an honor to share my story with you all. I am, I'm Crystal. I'm 32 now. I've always wanted to be a mom. It was something I always pictured and wanted for myself. So it was not, hard once I got married. We just kind of already knew that we wanted to have kids pretty quickly. I do have a bonus daughter, so I came in already kind of with that piece of things, and that if you have bonus children, if it's not an easy dynamic sometimes to have, so just struggled a little bit with that. But of course, was still just excited to even be presented with the opportunity of course, having a built-in child already, but just wanting to expand our family. And yeah, so I don't know where you want me to start, Michelle. I can
Yeah,
just start.
tell me, okay, how long have you guys been trying? What have you been doing before? So
Mhm.
before we met and you came a part of, being in the Facebook group in the community, how long had you been trying? What had doctors told you? And, yeah, tell me that. How
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So my husband and I got married in 2019, in August of 2019. And pretty much after we got married, so literally we started trying, honestly, right on the wedding day. We started trying. And so by the time I met Michelle, we had been trying for almost 4 years, I believe it was 4 or 5 years. And the first maybe year or two, we didn't really think anything of it. We just thought, we had a lot of stressful things going on. And so we just thought maybe it was stress, maybe it was different things. But then by that third year, I kind of started worrying and was like, okay, why is this not happening yet? So I, took it upon myself to just go ahead, because I didn't think my husband was the issue or a problem, because I was like, he already has a kid, so it has to be me. So I started going to the doctor, and they started, checking me and just doing different things. And my cycles sometimes were irregular, but for the most part, I had a regular cycle, so I didn't know what the issue was. And so they were just like, oh, it's probably stress, or, oh, have your husband come in to do, analysis and stuff as well. So I was like, okay. So all of my tests kept coming back, normal or fine. And so after, convincing, how men are, they don't like to, they
Right.
don't think they're the issue, especially they already have kids. But I was, my bonus daughter was older. And so I was like, just try it and see. And my husband also had just some slight health issues as well. He's a diabetic and had high blood pressure. And so it didn't hurt to check. So he decided to finally go and get checked out, and they come to find out, they said that they felt like his sperm count was on the lower end, and basically because of him being a diabetic, they said. So they were like, just do, some healthy lifestyle changes and things should be fine. And so we went with that as well. And he, was talking with his doctor, got his A1C down, went back and did another analysis, and everything was back up and fine, but we still weren't getting pregnant. So at that point, I just, I was down on myself. I really wanted this for myself, and I really wanted it for us. And so, I was almost grasping at any and everything, just trying to figure out what was wrong, or what was I doing wrong, or whether, something spiritual going on I needed to look at, or was it just timing? Was I just rushing things? There was just a lot of things going through my mind and head at that point. And just happened to be on TikTok. And I was looking, and for some reason, you know how, like, in our minds, stuff comes up on our phone mysteriously somehow. And so I came across Michelle, and she was just dancing around, bubbly, and talking about, fertility. And I was like, this is so fun. Like, I really need to, hear her, and just, follow and see what's going on, and just make some different changes. And I just felt, just God was just pulling me towards Michelle for some reason. And then come to find out we were in the same city and going
Right.
to the same church. And so I was like, this is not my chance. Like, I need to connect with this woman. And so we did. And I will say, just doing her program and listening to her and listening to other women, it really taught me that I did have some stuff that I needed to work through, and things that I thought that I had let go of, that um, I was still holding on to. And I was like, okay, well, this might be the reason why. Like, maybe God is not done, working through me and working through some things, and there are some things that I needed to let go. And so Michelle challenged us. It was like 1 week, and she challenged us to, just think about someone or something that we kind of still had a hold on to, even if we felt like, we didn't do anything wrong. Just, reach out and apologize. It didn't have to be anything, grand, or, whatever, but just to say, okay, let me, just truly let this stuff go. So I mentioned, of course, I have a bonus child, and without giving away everything, there was just some things that happened, between her mom and I, that I just thought I had let go of, and I did not let go of. And so I decided to reach out. I, gave her something small, and I wrote a letter to her in a card, essentially saying, if there's anything that, I did to contribute to things, just apologizing for that, letting her know how much I love her child, and that, I wouldn't want to come in between any of those things. And even if she never responded or anything back, I just truly felt like after I finished that note, I was crying, because I didn't realize how much I was holding on to just from that. And
Wow.
I posted it back, into our group, and let everyone know that I did it. Um, and uh, and I was okay with the fact, after I wrote it, I was okay with the fact that if she never said anything back, or she would have, even if she was like, yeah, you did this and did that, I was just like, I'm just gonna write it and just be okay with whatever is gonna be of it. And literally a month after that, I could tell that I really let go of things. And literally a month after that, I was pregnant. So,
So, okay, so that was a lot. Like, I hope
yeah.
y'all were listening. This was like, to me, this whole situation, and I even learned more about your story just listening today. Okay, so
Mhm,
the doctors gave your husband some suggestions of things that he could do, and his A1C did improve. And
mhm,
so his sperm quality did improve, but there was still a certain amount of time, and I don't know if you remember or know exactly how long it was, that even after you made all those changes, there was still more time before you got pregnant. So
mhm,
things have been back to being optimal, if you will, and you still weren't getting pregnant. So I think that's really important to know that, one, they actually made changes. Like, you have to start doing something, and he actually made changes, saw improvement. But sometimes, even if you do make the things in the natural, that there's also a spiritual component to that, and I think that that's so important. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Fertility Freak, is because we believe that faith is a part of all of it. Like, your faith and your spiritual guidance that you get from Holy Spirit, or that God, like, even put on my heart for us to do that forgiveness challenge. And it came from my personal experience because
Mhm.
everyone knows who heard my story. Like I had a forgiveness thing. And the funny thing is I always kind of like line up our stories because yours, you were pregnant the next month after you did like your act of forgiveness. And the same thing happened with me with my son a month after I did my act of forgiveness. I was pregnant. I was like, okay, Lord. So this is
Mhm.
there's something to this whole forgiveness thing. We think like it's like, oh, that's so woo woo, doesn't have anything to do with anything. But I just believe God really honored how you humble yourself in a situation where you didn't have to because you wasn't in the wrong, and when you did that, it opened up the door. And not only, and y'all, I just want to point this out to Crystal because a lot of women who I work with hear the things I suggest, but don't actually do them.
Mhm.
But Crystal, I recall in that week when we did that challenge, you like set it off because other people weren't posting what they did. You said, "Look, listen, you said do this, I did it. And here's the picture, and this is what I did." And I was like, wow, I hope everyone is watching this. And now, how old is Honey now?
She's 15 months now. Just turned 15
15
months.
months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Such a cutie. And so I think that this is so incredible that God can show you. And the thing that, oh, here's another thing I want to highlight. People also always feel like it's only the women who are in their late 30s or either in their 40s who may have trouble conceiving. So another thing that really makes this an incredible testimony is the fact that you are younger.
Mhm.
You're 32 now, so she's 50. So
Yeah, so
you were
I
in
just
your 20s when you first started trying to conceive. So
mhm.
it's a myth that women who are younger who are trying to conceive that it's automatically easier for them. That's just not true. So even if you're in your 20s and you're trying to conceive and you're having any type of issue or type of trouble, it doesn't mean that it's too early for you to seek out help. So, Crystal, I thank you so much for just taking the time to share that story with the audience. I think that they'll definitely be blessed by it. And if I were to have takeaways from this, the three things that anyone who's listening is to know that it's never too early to begin learning about your body and figuring out what could be blocking my fertility. The second thing that I want you guys to take away from this is that it's not just physical, but there are spiritual things. Listen, when you are trying to birth a baby who's going to be born into a Christian home, the enemy hates that. So don't always think, well, I've done everything in the physical, but there could be a spiritual component that's missing. And then three, when you do invest in a coach or your fertility help in any type of way, do what they ask you to do. Like, it's not
Right.
just about, okay, well, I know all the stuff. I did all the stuff. And like you said, you're on TikTok and you see me dancing. I mean, listen, I was the queen of all the dancing videos back then. But when God shows you stuff and when God presents you stuff and you are challenged, walk in that challenge because you just never know what is on the other side of your obedience and obeying God throughout your fertility journey makes all the difference. Because imagine if Crystal would have said, "I'm not doing that. Like that's crazy. Like why would I do that?" There's so many people who don't do everything. They just do what's comfortable to them. And so when you step outside of your comfort zone and you do something different, I believe God moves in your life, and He absolutely moved in Crystal and Arsenio's life. So I think that's amazing. Is there anything else that you would want to say to the ladies to give anyone hope, um, so that their lives could change in the way that your life has changed?
Yes, I guess I will say, and you kind of mentioned it as well. But I will say, don't be afraid to humble yourself to do the work. Because a lot of us, and like me, I was the same way. I felt like, I'm fine. I'm spiritually connected. I do all the right things. I go to church. I read my Bible. I do everything. So I thought I was fine. And sometimes when we get in that mindset, I think God humbles us and brings us back and realizes, you are not perfect and there are things that you need to work on. And that just happened to be my piece. So yes, listen to listen to the things, Michelle is saying. Read your Bible. Ask God, okay, what is it that you're trying to show me? Or, hey, I feel like I don't need to forgive anyone. Can you show me, God? Is it something that I'm missing? And that's what I had to do, because I really felt like I didn't need to forgive. And then every time, if you think about a person and every time it's a negative thought, or it's I can't stand them, or you think about the situation and it makes you upset, and that was some of the things that was happening. Like, anytime this person was mentioned, I was upset, or anytime things would pop up and happen, I was instantly upset. And I was like, okay, maybe this is maybe this is why who I need to forgive, and maybe this is why I need to humble myself and do it. So definitely don't be afraid to humble yourself. And I will also encourage you to hold on to faith and hope. It can seem, hopeless at times with things. And so if it's something as simple as getting, a blanket, or getting, a piece of clothing, just to remind you about your promise and the things that you want. And in moments of doubt, that, I had to hold on to the things that I had purchased, and, just to remember, okay, I want my little princess. She's coming. I gotta, trust God and just know that He's going to do it for me in the time, when I'm ready. And I do definitely think that, um, I know that if we had gotten pregnant before, I don't think I would have been 100% ready. Because I needed to go through some of those things so that I can appreciate. I would have always appreciated her, but um, just now I can appreciate her even more. And so yeah, I would just say hold on to faith and just know your time is coming, and trust the process of that time. And oh, sorry, one more thing too. Be excited and thrilled for other people. Even in the midst of your storm, it can be hard to watch other people get pregnant, and especially when it's really something that you want to do, or give yourself grace if you're like, hey, congratulations, but let me step back for a little bit, get myself together, and so I can be present and in your moment with you. That's fine too. But also still just make sure that you're showing gratitude for other people, because you know what they say, if you're around people that's blessing, is getting blessed, you're bound to get blessed as well. So yeah, that's what I
Mm.
would say.
That's so good. And one thing I can say about you, Crystal, is when you posted your testimony and your baby announcement in the group, so many people were happy for you. And not that they weren't happy for other people, but specifically you, because they saw how you really did the work, how you were happy for others. And I think that is such a sensitive topic, because it is hard to be happy for others when you're like, but what about me, God? So I think having the heart posture, like you said, that's such a mature way to handle it. Congratulations to you, but you also have to take care of yourself and step back if you need to. But just trying your best to stay as positive as you can is really important. And like you said, when you see and when it's happening for others around you, you're next. And I think being in the room, specifically in this community that we have, it's 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 a support group of people who understand exactly how you feel. And if you don't have that on the outside, with your natural life, your friends, your family, who may or may not understand what it feels like for what you're going through, having a community of people really can solidify and change what your trying to conceive journey feels like going forward. So thank you for sharing that piece. And if you're anyone else who is like Crystal, whether you have unexplained fertility issues, male factor, any type of diagnosis that you may have, I want to invite you to watch the God, Where is My Baby Masterclass. It's complimentary. You can actually register for that class at the link in the show notes or at fertilityfreak.com. During that class, you're going to learn a lot of the principles that I walked Crystal and other women who I've been able to help be a part of their journey and help them get pregnant. You're going to be able to learn some of the things you really need to start looking at and making sure that you're not missing key areas that could be blocking you from getting pregnant. So I want to invite you to that class so that you can learn more about how to unblock yourself faster, get pregnant faster. And if you're ready to get to work, I can't wait to work with you, and I'm excited to see how God can move in your life. Thank you again, Crystal, so much for being here today. I appreciate your time and your effort and your story, and I believe that your family is blessed because of what you decided to do, how you decided to take a stand for your family. And so I know that God sees that, and I pray that God gives you all the desires of your heart or everything else that he has coming for you. I've seen, everything that you've transitioned in all areas of your life. And I think that God definitely has his hand on you. So I'm excited to see what's next. And again, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Michelle, so much.